some positions and get ourselves to cross side, which is one of the dominant positions in Jiu-Jitsu. It's a good spot for us. We certainly don't want to lose it. In talking about wedging, we've been talking all week about wedging defensively underneath, make sure our arms are to the inside and stuff. Now we want to look at wedging people to hold them down. And with the gi on, a really cool way of looking at wedging is you would just say trapping his far arm, like with his lapel. Like this could be a triple fat goose jacket if it was 1990 or something. But you take this over and you pin the arm down. So pinning things is wedging them too, for sure. So if I'm cross-side, what are some other wedges? Well, if you look here, when I'm on the far side, I lock my elbow inside of his elbow and ribs. Right? You hear me just keep over and over again talking about inside, inside, inside. And over time, you start to understand more and more what it means to be inside of things. Well, I'm wedged inside of his elbow at this point. Pull your elbow to your ribs, buddy. Pull it to the mat. It's not easy to do, so I've wedged his elbow away from the mat, which is good. It makes it hard for him to roll away. Roll away, buddy. That wedge stops it, right? Now, if he wanted to roll towards me, I have my hand dug into his far armpit. And I try to lead with my middle finger there. And I take my head and I drive his head over here. Turn towards me, bud. I've wedged him in that direction with my shoulder. So these are good wedges. Here's another good wedge. My leg closest to his head scrapes along inside of his rib cage and locks his arm up over here by his head with my hip. Now that arm's wedged in place. So we have a lot of wedges here. Now, so how do I use this now? If I keep my head down on his arm, it's easy for me to grab a hold of that fabric and pass over. And I grab a hold of that piece of cloth and I hold his arm down. So he's stuck here now. I have him under good control at this point. I'm not really too worried about him getting up. It's hard for him to get up now. All right, so what do? We've isolated the near arm, isolated the far arm, use my shoulder, my arms, and my leg to wedge him in place. It's stuck. Let's talk about strangling Jesus now. So when I set this, I'm trying to get close to his wrist, right? And his lapel, the skirt, the lower part of his lapel, is in a position where it starts to pull in towards his neck, right? And my arm on this side, because I'm locked in there tight, can go to this side. But what's really gonna give me the powerful force to drive through is by me stepping my leg over his head. So we're here, right? Watch what happens now, guys. I shift my hips, right? And I'm leaning in this direction. My leg closest to his head goes all the way over. I keep the grip I have, and now I start to slowly draw my leg back. And it's pretty brutal. Nice, right?
Yep.
Start.